I'm I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I'm not having one, but it just one of the things is when people ask me questions in texting, I have such a severe panic attack from that because so many people take it wrong. And I'm sorry if I'm extra snotted up right now. There's a lot of situations that have happened. I've got recordings with the witnesses. I've got that stuff handy as often as I can. But it costs money to keep gas in my vehicle. My physical disabilities prevent me from being able to do a whole heck of a lot at the library. In order to get a lot of the evidence, I want you to look behind me. Alright, that's the stuff on top is what keeps me alive. The stuff underneath and this bag right here and the electronics that I have on my dash, these are all full of evidence. One of the profiles I had to make to try to save evidence is called See Justice Prevail. I didn't have the money to pay for it anymore because my disability was taken away because I have crippling panic attacks from abuse. I literally cannot function. I can't take care of myself. All I can do is speak. And as far as trying to get to a safe environment, people aren't understanding what a safe environment means. There's videos from today with tweakers in them. I don't mess with that stuff. I got videos, that one that I sent you about how I went there for help not to see my friend OD. Just so you know, in that video, that's my friend Brett Roloff. In that video, he's digging through his own shit for a bag of meth. I have Tourette syndrome, so I blink my eyes weird, and I talk kind of weird, and I stutter a bit. But that's because I'm extremely smart. The problem is, I get overwhelmed. If I've got 2 or 3 or 4 people interrupting me asking questions, sometimes the answer to your question might be yes, but not at the point in the story I'm telling you. So I'm going to have to tell you no. I did threaten one person in Natalie's family after Natalie was dead, and that was Ted Bollinger, and oh, hell yes, I admit to that. It's not something I should have had to do. I shouldn't have had to stoop to that level, but here's the thing. I was to the point of desperation. I've got all this evidence and nobody would look. Tranya Walker typed, "Did they find her killer?" Yes, they did, Tranya. His name is Joseph Michael Lopez. Anyway, there's a lot of evidence going back for years, and I've been trying to explain to people how important the evidence is, how important it is to look at it, and while it's still there, because over time, when you're homeless, everybody steals from you. The cops steal your stuff. The homeless steal your stuff. You've been to the St. Vincent's, is it? There in the Dalles, you've seen what it's like, and yeah, it is a free-reign drug area. I've also got recordings of all of it. It's not just Jamie being abused, and that's not the only time that I have recorded about Jamie being abused. That's just Jamie. Let alone somebody like me who's an outsider. By the way, I roll my own tobaccos when I can. Gotta conserve money. The problem is that everybody wants to ignore my disabilities. They want to ignore my physical disabilities and now my financial disabilities. Because although all of the cost of legal crap has been costing me an average of $1,600 to $2,100 a month, depending on the year. Bonjour.
Long time no see.
Yes, ma'am. I met you yesterday, right?
Yeah, you did.
Not a lot. I was talking on my YouTube channel, and
Oh, cool. I know you told me about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice, dude.
There's a guy that I'm trying to get in contact with. A lot of times people don't understand that time is the difference between the predator getting away or not.
Yep.
So a lot of times when a guy tries to turn it in, people blow him off for months at a time. They don't think it's that important, or they got lost in their stuff. A lot more so, especially if it's one of these places out here that helps, people. They try to focus on women because those are the ones we're trained we're supposed to care about the most. And even then, a lot of these women got to spend $200 to get $50 worth of services. So how's it doing them any good? What's your take?
I love it. I love it. I really do. I think you're doing a great thing. I'm really interested in it.
Well, I'm hoping more people will look into it, because I got to admit it, I'm a mean son of a bitch. I'm nice in person, but there's got to be a way to get heard. And when I talk nicely, they just they don't get that it is an emergency. And as a result, a lot of people are dead. They'd be alive if I'd been heard.
Right. Probably fucked with you, huh?
A lot. I got a lot of evidence of it. The guy that I'm making this video for, there's a lady in the Dalles, Oregon, that was being abused quite a bit, and she's got some issues, and she's pretty small, and this guy was pushing her, and then he followed her while she was trying to get away from him, and he punched her in the back of the head. And I'm like, I got to be afraid to try to turn this stuff into the police, because what are the chances that they're going to look?
Yeah, fuck the police.
They don't, not unless somebody's there with you. And how many times is somebody going to go in with you to turn something in? That's why rule number 1 is you never talk to the cops. But I try, People say, hey man, if you should have talked to the cops, you should have called the cops when you knew there was a problem. I'm like, I called the cops when it became necessary to call the cops. The cops tell you, hey, you should try to do this outside of court before calling us and going through all this. You get taught that as a kid. When you're being bullied, you go to your bully and tell them how it makes you feel. Well, does that usually result in anything good? No. And then they tell you to go to the teachers or the cops or, a trusted adult. And if that doesn't work, you've got safety in numbers. Well, I think the police are actually the last one on the list. The trusted adults is like the last one on the list. But, the whole point is you shouldn't have to go in alone. It's scary. You're less likely to be heard that way. That guy scares me.
Huh?
That guy scares me. He
drove
the guy in the blue hoodie. Yeah, he was.
Blue hoodies. White Jeep.
Yeah, he pulled up next to me this morning, started screaming some crazy crap at me and telling me there's evidence in my canoe. It's like, man, this is scary. Well, it scared the hell out of me. I made a video about it, and he got really messed up over at the First Christian Church, and that's also on my YouTube channel. He was accusing some old man who's homeless of being a pervert, and he'd magically seen something in his mind where this perverted old man apparently mystically has this walk-in closet with a porno room in the back where he molests children, and oh my God. It's literally on my YouTube channel. That stuff scares me. I grew up in the system, and now I am physically disabled, and I am mentally distraught.
Me too. I got no friends, man. It fucks with me.
It's the way it is with a lot of us out here. When we get taken advantage of, we just have to take it. I used to have friends. I used to save lives. And then I hurt my back, and then I rescued the wrong addict.
Yeah.
Yep. I saved evidence that I was the one telling the truth. When she ended up getting shot in the head, they tried blaming it on me. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
They found the guy that did it. His name's Joseph Michael Lopez. What was your name again?
Risa.
Risa.
Yeah, just fair stops there. I see a fucking bowl of weed spare or something.
I don't. That's something like everybody around here wants to give me weed. I have to turn
To give
down.
you
So
weed?
they do. Like, all right, I need car insurance and I need gasoline and I need, my phone bill
Need
paid
some
and
condoms?
everything else. I don't have sex. I think it's gross.
Why?
Because like I grew up in the system where sex was gross, and then when I got out of the system, everybody just treated me like I was gross. I'd just rather stay away from it.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're asexual.
Non-sexual.
Asexual though. Like.
But yes, you're right. I know what the word means. There's a joke that usually goes along with that, but it's not actually a funny joke, so I decided not to tell it.
Nice. Alright, bro. Well, I'll see you around.
Be safe. Thank you, Risa.
Oh, thanks. Here.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I hate it when the cigarettes get down this short, because... Oh, screw it, I can roll another one. So, there's the cost of all of this. There's the cost of me having to go to people who, because I'm intelligent, they want to ignore the fact that I am in a state of crisis and cannot function beyond my speech most of the time. Because of my physical disabilities, I can't carry my evidence. There's no way in Hades. When I say that I got recordings of this stuff, I record everything I possibly can when I can. It is costly. That's what I was told to do, and I was told that I needed to get an advocate and a guardian. That if people are harming me like this and I cannot defend myself, that the state is supposed to step in, and the state never stepped in Colorado. The state never stepped in Nebraska. The state never stepped in here in Oregon. The state never stepped in Wyoming. The state never stepped in Virginia. Or in Tennessee. Like, I've been all over the country chasing one empty promise after another. There's no civilian oversight. There's all these agencies that literally can't do any of the things that a family member could do, and usually that's the first thing they do in their triage. Like you were saying with the understaffing issue, yeah, they have to decide who they can help and who they can't. And that usually comes down to, does anybody care about them? How can you tell if somebody cares about them? Those somebody show up. If nobody shows up, then the opposition gets to sell their narrative, and that's it. A lot of people, they didn't ever get to speak up in my court dates. Many of them didn't know that I had them. Many of them I didn't know I had. When I would tell public pretenders what's going on, they refused to do their jobs. And the problem is that the narrative that I'm being abused over, the cost to my credit, to my disability money coming in, by the time I got a hold of you, I was at the end of my ropes by years. I can't get myself heard. Maybe I can get Jamie heard. Maybe I can get some of the other victims heard. The fact is that those are in my environment. And when I am in a state of crisis, I am highly susceptible to completely and entirely shutting down when things like that are going on. And that video that you got to see with Jamie getting punched in the back of the head, like, you got no idea how much it takes to stand up to that. You get to see how all those grown-ass goddamn adults that are there, they're all watching it happen or intentionally looking the other way. That video doesn't even show all the people that were sitting against the wall at the north side of the building. And it wasn't just abuse against Jamie. There's quite a few at-risk people there. Now here I've got a stalker named Molly, and she's been doing stuff like beating on my vehicle and fucking stalking me and an old guy named Tom and abusing both of us, physically abusing him, physically abusing my vehicle, slandering both of us, trying to pretend like we're horrible people if she doesn't get her way. Telling Tom that if he leaves her, then she'll just pretend that he molested her or raped her or some crap like that. Playing fucking victim, pretending like I might what? So there's food here, and that money that I no longer have an income for. I gotta beg places for money. Please help me. I can't take care of myself. I cannot function most of the time beyond my ability to speak. It's because I don't have a place to do any of the things that you're asking me to do. I do not have the physical abilities or the mental capacity most of the time due to the fact that I am still in an overwhelming environment with new people. Many of the people that are witnesses to my story, they're drug addicts. And many of my predators are the people that they get their drugs from. There's the fact that my predators can do whatever they want across any jurisdiction repeatedly, over and over and over again. And I get told about this jurisdiction crap. But there was no jurisdiction when it came to police, law enforcement, across the state of Colorado, in between when Natalie Bollinger was killed and when they found her killer. They coordinated and worked together to prevent me from showing what it is that I was asked to show. I did everything that I could to give the detectives in Natalie's case everything that they needed. And that's more than just Peterson and Rogers. That also includes Detective Erica and her partner, God, what was his name? I've got it written down somewhere. Detective Hyatt. You know, they came and saw me in Aurora when I was over by Miss Peach's house. Miss Peachy, she all afraid of the cops and shit because she, like, sells pot. You know, I didn't care. The whole world didn't give a fuck that Natalie Bollinger and her entire family are on fucking drugs, okay? If they're allowed to speak, then yes, you as a fucking drug, you can speak, but nobody got that. They wanted to hide behind their pride, behind their fears, behind the fact that they're afraid of the judgment of others while telling me that I shouldn't care what other people think. People threaten to kill me and my loved ones, including my friends and family, over what they think. My friends and family ran for the hills over shit like that. I mean, these are things that I have to worry about. Now here in Tillamook, I've had a few run-ins with the cops over them giving me shit over this Molly lady. And I can show you some pretty horrible stuff that she's done. And I can give you all sorts of recordings with Tom talking about the things that she's done. And that's the thing, I have to be afraid. If you look it up, that's the most important thing. Look it up. Look it up. When I tell you something, you need to look it up. Not necessarily you, but anybody who gets on my channel and listens to my story. What?
Do you have any like resources around here for fucking homeless people, like fucking anything, like Meals on Wheels, or fucking food, man?
I do.
Fucking hungry.
There's a piece of paper. Let me dig it out.
I got a pen right here. I'm writing on my hand right here.
Well, I'm new to the area.
Oh, are you?
Like, I've been here about a month.
I've been here about a week.
And I've been through hell, but that's over a crazy lady named Molly. So that ain't your fault. And also the tweakers that keep doing crazy shit at the homeless feeds. I'm afraid to go.
Your homeless feeds? Where are they?
The one today, I was told that it was at the Red Church, but I was also told that it was at the Seventh Adventist. What time is it?
It's about 5.
All right. If it's not at the Seventh-day Adventist, it might be at the Red Church. But I've got a man purse here. I've also got a messed up shoulder.
I was just there.
It's shut?
Up, yeah.
Alright, good, because they got KKK meetings there. That shit's scary.
Oh, the 7th what, you said?
Seventh-day Adventist. It's literally that church right there. If you run around back, I don't see any homeless people there, though. Let me see.
I'm so hungry.
If it's already closed for today, and I know I have a list in here somewhere. Oh, there's Care.
Care? Ooh, can I get the information for that?
You may. There's a housing case manager here. Just grab all these cards. I have one for each and every one of them.
Nice.
So you can write those down, and then
Thank you.
once you actually, I think there's one in here I have a double of. I have two of. No, that's all right. It doesn't matter. It's easy to write down.
Okay.
And I have the rest of them, so it'll be all right.
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
But yeah, there's a piece of paper that I have in here though that I'm looking for. So I'll see if I can find that for you real quick.
Yeah. You drink?
I don't. I quit drinking in 2001. Yeah. I wasn't a very fun drunk, or rather I was to myself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I woke up a few mornings with my legs not working and my friend Brandon going, "You beat me up because I wanted to spar." I'm like, "I'm sorry." Well, you know, I was just messing around, but I was too drunk to be sparring, and you're fast. That's what he told me. No, it wasn't that I was fast. He was just really fucking drunk. I know I have them. The problem is I've got so much crap in here.
Alright, I got the address. Thank you.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Alright, so there's homeless food maybe?
There might be over there. Yes, ma'am. I'm not familiar with all of them yet. Yes, ma'am. All right, so there's also the fact that because I'm a male, when I tried to turn in my predators and I had to go in alone and they wanted to play on the mentally ill tag and pretend that I'm schizophrenic and delusional, my mental health lady there, she explains my diagnoses, and schizophrenia is not one of them. Neither is being delusional. But the problem is, and you can see that here in Tillamook, and also there in Hood River, like they keep going back and forth between I'm crazy when it suits them, and I'm cognitive and well aware when it suits them. I'm literally anything that they can do to not have to do their fucking jobs. And due to the fact that so many people are dead directly as a result of this, I do have to say something. I can't just keep allowing it to happen. It seems like I'm the only person who's trying to get something done about this. A lot of people are speaking to me about it, but they're not speaking up and out in public, and they're certainly not helping one another to turn these predators in. Now, there's a situation with Leslie Snell and Scott DaCosta. Scott DaCosta's department in Dole County, you wouldn't think that would have anything to do with Hood River. Well, why do you think I was in Hood River, or in the Dalles, or in Oregon to begin with? People in Chapel, Nebraska were threatening to kill my niece and my sister because I was trying to turn in the local cops. The evidence with my sister is on my YouTube channel, and all of this stuff that I sent you in Facebook, that's all evidence of the stories that I'm telling you right now. That's just a little tiny sample. And they have the actual events themselves or the witnesses therein, speaking of the events. A lot of people tell me, you know, you should have done this and you should have done that. And then they tell me things that I've got literally example after example of me trying. of me being blown off, and of those very officers and others who blew me off, pretending later on that I never said those things. And they're pissed. They're all pissed because the things that they're claiming are slander. I've recorded. I've no doubt that the guy who punched Jamie in the back of the fucking head tried saying that I lied and that I fucking slandered his name, but you can see plainly in the video he fucking cold-cocks her in the back of the noggin. I got to deal with the fact that I don't have a renewable income anymore because people don't want to understand. Just because I can speak intelligently does not mean that I have the physical or financial or educational abilities to do the things that I'm being asked to do. That's why I'm asking for help. That's why I've spent tens of thousands of dollars as a fucking homeless person to run through the fucking gauntlet. From one end of the country to the other, being told things that turn out to be untrue. Finding out that the laws are apparently different for me than they are for my predators, because I'm not allowed to turn in my predators. I have to do so alone, but they all have help. When I say they, people have very simple motives. When you work in a hospital, and your coworkers work in a hospital, and you like your boss, he's a really nice guy, do you want to be the mandated reporter who somebody tells, hey, your boss just inserted some fingers right here? Do you really want to be the person who has to turn that in? I've got professional after professional after professional recorded telling me that they couldn't do their jobs as mandated reporters because they're afraid of losing their jobs. Meanwhile, I don't enunciate too good because I ain't got no teeth. My dead loved ones that I tell you all about, yeah, those are all verifiable. Also, Demetrius Shankling, verifiable. You can look his name up. You can look up Natalie Bollinger. You can look up my name. One of those on there is, well, one of those little chunks of slander I tell you about. Do you have any idea what it's like having to deal with that in real life? People keep saying, oh, well, if you don't look on the internet, you won't see it. You know what? When people are fucking harming you in real life over that shit, in real life, because they watch that shit on YouTube. And you want to pretend like YouTube doesn't fucking exist. Did you complain to YouTube? Yes, I did. And then it destroyed the evidence. Good thing that I took screenshots. Oh, we can't take the screenshots. We have to see the extra. Are you fucking kidding me? Literally what they tell you to do, if you're being fucking harassed, is to erase the evidence of the fucking harassment. Really? So how is it that these people's word is admissible in court, but the goddamn evidence is not? How come it is that the very people that destroyed the evidence are able to talk about the evidence without it being evidently ever evidence? Why is it that the victim is not allowed to go to their own fucking court dates? Here's the thing, dude. People pretend that I am Jamie and the guy who hit her wrapped up into one. They pretend I'm Jack the Ripper, Jack Kevorkian, and Jeffrey Dahmer all rolled into one. I get people telling me that they're Christians, threatening to kill me, talking about how they're going to castrate me and cut my throat. I get told that I chose this because I speak up. I chose the abuse because I speak up. What would I have to speak up about if I wasn't being abused? So then my predators within law enforcement, I have to state clearly what it is that I am going to do when I am going to try to turn them in. I have to state that loud and clear. When I do that, they lock me up. They take away my evidence. They pretend that I didn't make any such statements, that none of that evidence actually exists. They make it their word versus mine. Meanwhile, the bullshit that I'm going through here in Tillamook, the stuff with Molly, you can't be a good person in the United States. That's the moral of the story. A lot of these programs that I go to, you have to be a felon. Did you know I was in prison for crimes I didn't commit? I was trying to turn in a bad sheriff. When you're homeless, you either get treated like you're a fucking junkie, or you get treated like you're schizophrenic, and that's how it is. When you say that you were able to go in and make a police report, I am glad you were able to do that. I'm glad you were able to do that without fear. I'm glad you got some fucking backup. The problem, Sam, is sometimes that backup is a cover-up. That's what it ends up being. You know, that nice lady that you got to go to because you have to turn in her boss. You know, this is let's say you got to go to the office of the aging and the disabled, right? Because you're disabled. And the guy in the aging and disabled office, you got to turn in a crime that was committed against you, and he decides it's okay to molest you. Now, as far as mandated reporters go, well, let's say you're the person at that office, and this person who has just been molested by your boss is telling you that they've just been molested. According to the mandated reporter training, they're supposed to do something then and there, even if their boss is their best fucking friend or goddamn spouse. That's right. Even in the case of that person being your spouse, which is not supposed to be allowed to happen anyway, if you are a mandated reporter, you have to turn it in. Have to. It's mandatory. And a lot of people, they know that they're horribly mistaking the law when they pretend that it's just for children. Because the mandated reporter laws are for children and for at-risk adults, and absolutely homeless. Just being homeless makes you an at-risk adult. It makes you the easiest person to target because there are no laws against targeting you the way there are laws against targeting the police or targeting nurses or hospital staff or targeting black people or targeting Jews. And meanwhile, a homeless person could be any one of those things or could have been any one of those things. I met a couple of police officers homeless out there, or former police officers. Shit happens. Sometimes you become a cop and you realize, holy fuck, this place is corrupt, and you're gone. You're like, fuck that. Sometimes you're a cop and your girlfriend or your wife fucking kills herself, and you're like, fuck this. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this anymore. I got to deal with a lot of people who were involved directly in the situation, and I have it recorded, but see, they're afraid of being victimized themselves, and that's the important thing about the recordings that I have. I have literally hundreds upon hundreds of recordings with these people, but nobody will look at them. Nobody will listen to them. With these people telling me that their lives are being threatened, their children's lives are being threatened. I've got call after call to agency after agency, and I always start off nice. But you get to hear how it is when I have tried and tried and tried, and I am still enduring abuse while trying to get somebody to help me turn in the fucking abuse that happened over a month ago now. If you were to listen to the videos of what I had to fucking go through at these agencies, all right, which if I was there in person, like I was when I first brought it to you, and like I brought it to many other people, I have the evidence. Look at it, please look. Please look. Please listen, please. Or they will simply pretend that it doesn't exist. This abuse is inhumane. I am a highly intelligent human being. I am horrible with electronics. And as far as learning, well, I am under a severe quantity of stress and having to deal with tweakers everywhere I go. And I can't say tweakers, it's rude. It might offend a tweaker who drives me fucking nuts every goddamn day. And he's a nice enough guy, but I don't mess with that shit for a reason. And then there's Molly and her bullshit. And then the cops and the way that they blow it off. And meanwhile, I haven't even sent you a tiny fraction of what I'm going through. I mean, phone call after phone call on my YouTube channel with a lot of different people. The stuff that I sent you today is just for reference so that you can go back and you can see that examples of what I have spoken to you about today are on my YouTube channel. There's also a lot of stuff where I am a very, very angry person, absolutely. Having my little sister tell me that her and my niece were threatened again, that's fucked up. Do you know what that's like? And I want you to imagine that people are doing this to your family. And you're trying to get help, and people are not understanding that it's an emergency. They're not understanding at all. They're saying, well, after my vacation, Amanda Jonas didn't tell me that she was one of the officers that was involved in a situation where multiple crimes were committed against me. Until after not only had she been assigned to investigate herself. This is in Colorado, and this affects me to this day. This affects my ability to go to the police and to get an honest court date. If you look up the name Waylon Lolatai, you can verify his name too. The stuff that I say is true, and it is verifiable. But for me to post this stuff up on the internet, this is not appropriate. I should have been able to go to a professional and not have to go through months and months of this. This is why I have to post it. This is why I have to record it, because I am trying to get help. And the more people go out of their way not to understand that I am at risk out here, I can't take care of myself, let alone defend myself. And that includes against false charges, especially when those false charges deprive me of the money to take care of myself or feed myself. And folks tell me to go to a church feed, and they think that that should make everything fucking better. All of a sudden now I have hundreds of dollars to take care of myself because I was able to go to a church feed. I'm thankful for that place. I really am. But the help I need is stopping abuse and stop being forced into an environment where people are going to prey on me, because I am easy to prey on. I am also easy to ignore because I do from time to time, especially when I first meet people. I am quite an eloquent speaker. I am capable of speaking intelligently. I ain't a tard. And that's one of the things about autism that we also have to deal with. People assuming that we're idiots, that we're all low functioning, or that for some people, they think we're all high functioning. They think low functioning autistic people have Down syndrome, and they don't. There's no visual markers for autism other than our movement and our speech. As far as physical features. No, there is no physical autism feature. There just isn't one. You can be autistic and be raised in a household of any religion, from any national background. You can still become autistic. I say become autistic because that is something that when you are created, you become something, don't you? You become a baby, and the genetics that you got are the genetics you got. The fact that my intelligence is denied because I am disabled, and they don't even use the disabilities that I actually have as an excuse for that. They just say mentally ill and pretend schizophrenic. No, PTSD from abuse, motherfuckers. No, I am not delusional. Absolutely, I do have evidence to back it all up. But people got to listen to it. And of course, I get people who, they tell me that they got stuff that they need to do, and I do have to understand that, and I absolutely do, with everyone for 6 years. But at the point where, here I am in Oregon, I have been from coast to coast since Natalie was killed. People want to pretend that Natalie didn't exist because she didn't exist in the particular state that they want to talk about, but the fact is the abuse in that state over that situation is very real, and they need to know why. When I have to go in to talk to the police alone, they get fucking snarky with me. Why would they do that? And then I start trying to explain, well, we can't do anything about stuff from out of state. Well, you know what? I'm telling you why, ain't I? This stuff on the internet, this slander that people in real life are watching these shows, okay? It's not a computer-generated, we're just going to attack Sean thing. It's not some magic brainwave being transferred into my head. I don't think it's the Illuminati or the CIA. I don't just say it. I got proof. And I've been showing proof. And many people, I tell them like 30 times in one conversation, hey man, I have the evidence. And then of course, at some point after I explain to them I got the evidence, later on they're going to be like, well, you really can't do anything about that unless you got evidence. Like, holy shit, are you fucking deaf? And I'm expected not to be frustrated with this, especially when I can't function. When I cannot do these things for myself. And people want to tell me that I have the magical power to do so because I have a penis? Or because I'm white? Oh my God! That is insane! There's also the financial difficulties. And the fact of over and over and over being denied the right to turn in my predators, or being threatened, harassed, or intimidated while trying to do so, or being assaulted and arrested, and 11 times in Dalles County alone they had to drop the charges against me for bogus crap. I kept on being told that I had to turn in Dalles County Sheriff's Department to Dalles County Sheriff's Department. How is that supposed to work? Town of 500. There's a sheriff and 7 deputies. They're all friends. Yeah, that's going to fucking work, especially when the guy in the Dalles County Sheriff's Department that I really need to turn in the most is Scott DaCosta, the actual sheriff himself. You never know the cost of looking the other way. And hindsight is 20/20. I try to explain to the people who hopefully later on look, and some of them do, and they are mortified. Some of them are scared for their own families afterwards. Tell me, hey, Sean, this is the kind of shit that the government kills people over, and I got to explain to them, hey, that's some tinfoil hat shit there. Yeah, people get killed over all sorts of stuff in the movies. I get it. People get shot over all sorts of stuff in real life. I get it. Marcus, you know about the rat shit. Yup. Because I spoke up about the abuse, I'm a rat to the homeless community. But I still get treated like I must be a junkie by the police. Like I must be too retarded to know up from down, left from right. Like I'm so off in outer space, I don't know my own name. No, I am fucking exhausted physically and mentally. I am completely out of finances. For me to try to go to a church here, to go to any of the services, I got to be afraid I'm going to see Molly. I got recordings with witnesses about her beating on my vehicle. But I still have no actual guardian and no actual advocate. I'm sorry that this has been going on so long as far as the video goes, but holy shit, we haven't even scratched the surface of the stuff that I'm going through. And that's what I'm telling you, is that this, you can't expect somebody to move on from this. When you realize that a person is incapable, sure, you're going to make all the ideas in the world, but until you take a look, you have no idea. And that's the problem. I tried to show you in person, just like I tried to show all these other people in person. Folks who wanted to tell me to do it myself, but I can't even get all the stuff out of my vehicle before I got to stuff it back in. I live in a fucking trash pit. Most of this is not trash, but I got to try to save the bottles to pinch pennies. I can't get that free phone you were talking about until I have disability coming back in and have my food stamps coming back in, but somebody has to go with me to those things. It has not been safe for me to drive since 2017. Sorry, 2016. And I've been trying to explain this, but then I have to, because I'm expected to be able to take care of myself without the resources to take care of myself. And if I don't jump through the court's hoops, I get harmed over and over and over again. I got to go in by myself, because I go in by myself, they triage me right the fuck out the door or into the local padded room. So that lot down there is used and utilized. I gotta worry here about the same thing I had to deal with there. If I go back there, I'll have to worry about, of course, Hood River Police Department and the general population, especially among the homeless. And don't get me wrong, most of those folks are pussycats. They wouldn't attack me unless there was somebody else there as backup who'd already picked up a fucking rock. I mean, most of those folks down there, they're just going to watch, just like they did in that movie with Jamie getting punched in the back of the head. They just watched. I got so much anxiety, you got no idea. I got evidence that I've been repeatedly victimized for trying to tell on, well, predators. And many of them after the case, you can see that after I tried to turn in Michelle Decini was sent, in fact, to prison. Same thing with Sarah Nelson. Also, I'm going to have to send you the thing with Sarah Bacon, but I'm going to try to... I know you're not going to catch up with what I sent you. It's just that when you hear my story, I want you to be able to access the archives of information that I have recorded on the incidents, including the eyewitnesses. I'm so tired. For me, being able to go to the services there at St. Vincent, that became a dangerous situation because of the situation with Jamie. And because I tried to turn in that guy for punching her in the head. When you asked me if I tried to make a police report, yes, I did. More than once. I had to be afraid to go in alone, but nobody else gave a shit. They wanted to talk about caring about Jamie, but how much do they really care if they're going to let that happen to her? Anyway, there's also the conversations between myself and my sister, myself and many of my predators, myself and a great many people who pretended like they were going to help me, but just simply never did. They didn't take it seriously until people were dead. People didn't want to listen when I spoke about the missing and murdered women of Hardin, Montana. They didn't want to listen. Well, they're hearing it now, aren't they? And that all started with Selena Not Afraid, whose twin sister Zoe was the youngest suicide in Montana history. Her sister Teresa was clipped at the Billings airport just the year prior. Her brother Preston was shot by the police. I get a lot of people who hate me and do hateful things because of what they've seen on the internet from these web sleuth groups and from my predators and Natalie's. There are hundreds of witnesses that are recorded. I need their voices to be heard too. Many of them are angry with me now because I did record what they had to say about the situations, about their involvement, about what they knew. I'm exhausted from talking. With a lot of these folks who took their time, who didn't understand what an emergency it was until bodies started popping up. You know, there's a window there where everybody's safe. There's a window of opportunity there in that new place where people are relatively safe anyway. What you, the general public, don't want to even try understanding is that most of my predators are mobile. Most of my predators do have firearms. Most of them have demonstrated not only a want, but also a need and desire to utilize their firearms. Well, there's Tom at the bus stop. That's Tom over there. Here, I'll do it this way. That guy at the bus stop, that's Tom. There's some kids going by on their skateboards, so I want to make sure that I don't video them. Obviously, Tom is not here to start problems. He's not trying to start problems. And obviously, I don't want to walk across there to go to where the food is. Especially with the possibility that Molly might be there, which costs me money. I'm exhausted from all of this. I barely get to sleep. I'm constantly moving around, using up all of my gas to try to make sure that my electronics are on, so that when people say they're going to call me, I have electronics that are on. And I have non-stop panic attacks, and all I can do to combat that is to talk on here. People in real life scare the shit out of me, and reasonably so if you look at my videos and understand the recent events of my life. Anyway, good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind. We work together or we get nothing.